Hi. I've been thinking, so I've been thinking about fandom stuff because I have been kind of studying fandoms for a really long time. I'm not really someone who I would say is part of any fandom because I've always kind of disliked fandoms. And I kind of wanted to talk about why I feel like some of my ideas might resonate with people, but okay. So, one thing I don't like about fandoms is the way that I feel like I don't even think this is a fandom thing. It's kind of a fandom thing. It is like I don't like how it feels like right now. It's like this morality thing where something has to be either completely like the reason you like or dislike something has to have proof behind it practically, like almost like scientific proof when it's like that's not really how liking something works. Like you don't have to have like people feel like when they dislike something they have to prove that it's bad. And I'm not against criticism or anything like similar to criticism. I actually think criticism is actually something I do a lot. It's not that I think people shouldn't criticize things, it's that I think sometimes it becomes culturally like something is just like so shitted on that it's like that it's practically like people saying, "Oh, this thing is like actually factually bad." And I get that everyone's gonna do that to a hi BP, certain extent. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think that it happens way too much and way too excessively, where it feels kind of like damaging to people liking things. That it's like this weird, like pseudoscience almost at this point, and it feels like people feel like they need a moral reason to not like something, so they'll come up with bullshit. And I mean, I'm not trying to be harsh about it, but it really is bad sometimes. Like sometimes it's just like it really does feel like they're just coming up with shit for why they don't like something in a way that makes it deeper than it originally was. I'm not saying this for every single criticism ever. I'm just saying it definitely happens sometimes. Um and I wish I had examples right now, but the main example I have at the moment, like the one I just randomly thought about, is it's kind of a weird one to explain, but another thing I dislike is kind of acting like these characters are real to the point that like you can't just say you dislike a character, that also has to have a type of moral connection to it, or if you dislike a character it has a moral connection to it. Like I feel like it's okay to say you dislike a character and have your own unique personal reasons why you dislike them, rather than liking the character who's the most morally correct and disliking the characters that are the least morally correct. I feel like a good example for this is Euphoria, although, oh my god. No, baby, you can't go near that. Here. One sec. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't want to explain what had just happened because I don't want to be annoying. But like, I think Euphoria is a pretty good example of this. Because I feel like people, for instance, treat like Maddie, for instance, like she's like a real person who's their best friend. When it's like Maddie to me is just not that interesting of a character, and that's why I don't like her that much. It's not that I think she's terrible and I hate her. It's just I don't get why we're treating her like she's like a real person that we're also best friends with. I think another example is kind of Yellow Jackets, which is a show I actually like better. It's one of my favorite shows ever. I think it's just very like, people act like you can't dislike a character because they're all like cannibals that have done horrible things. And it's like, no, you can still have likes and dislikes. You have personal like triggers or personal opinions or like certain things that grate on you. For instance, if a character is annoying, I'm more likely going to hate them than if a character is evil. Like, honestly, like, there's characters who, yes, are morally worse than other characters that I actually like because I'm like, yeah, but they're like more fun to watch. They're a better character, they're better written. Like, and I think I should be allowed to have that opinion even with a show like Yellow Jackets. Especially when, like, I think people are wrong about this sometimes. Like, they'll be like, they're all morally the same. I'm like, honestly, I think Natalie, for instance, is, like, a better person than a lot of them. But regardless, I'm just saying, like, I don't think that it's about morals. I think it's just more about, like, personal opinions based on your personal worldview and how you view other people. Like, Jackie is one of my least favorite characters in Yellow Jackets. Jackie and Ty are my least favorites, and I've heard people say like, oh, it's interesting that people don't like Ty and Van together, but they like Jackie and Shauna together, and they like say it's racism. And I'm just like, and again, I'm not trying to say you can't call out racism. I'm just saying, like, in this moment, no. Like, I don't really like Ty very much, and I don't really like her with Van very much, but in all honesty, like, I have proof here in this example, which is that Jackie's actually my least favorite character, and I actually don't like her with Shauna. I actually used to kind of deny in my head the fact that Shauna and Jackie had like a homoerotic thing going on. Like, to a certain extent. Like, I knew it was a thing, but I was kind of like, oh, I don't really like care though, and I don't really want them to be together. But yeah, I didn't ship it. And I think I have really valid reasons to not like Jackie, but I feel like it's this weird thing where people also act like you can't like Jackie as if this is like a documentary. When it's like, no, like if this was a documentary, yeah, I wouldn't hate this random teenage girl that got like lost in the woods. But I mean, it's not. So I feel like I'm allowed to have the opinion that I genuinely don't like her. And Ty is like my second least favorite. And I feel like Ty is like really, really toxic to Van. And some people would be like, oh, well, they also literally eat people. And I'm like, yeah, I know all the characters have done toxic things, but like there's certain boundaries that certain people have or certain triggers certain people have. Like, me not liking her because she did a bad action doesn't mean I'm actually saying none of the others did bad actions, or that their other actions were even less bad. There's just certain things that annoy me more. Because, you know, it's fiction, so I'm allowed to be annoyed by certain things. I feel like I could talk forever about fandom. I guess, like, when I used to like The Raven Cycle, which is a book series, I used to really, really not like the character Blue. And this was because of fandom, actually. Like, this is like such a crazy thing. I was okay with her until I went online and I was kind of like, the way people view her is just inaccurate to how she actually is in the book. Because, you know, seeing that over and over, like people praising a certain character, either for traits you found annoying or for traits that you're like, that's literally not even them, it makes you not like the thing anymore. I feel like it was warping my perception of the Raven Cycle and warping my perception of the characters, because I was like, Blue's like okay. But the more I hear people praise her, the more I dislike her. Because, one, people would act like her number one trait was being a feminist, when, like, factually in the book, that is just not the case. Like, I could do a whole ass video essay on why I don't like blue, but I'm not gonna do that because that's just rude. I mean, maybe I will in the future, but probably not. I found her to be very annoying based on the fact that I felt like the more people pointed out why they liked her, the more I was like, this shows why I don't like her. And there was like a lot of things about the fandom that bothered me a little bit. Like, Maggie Stiefvater got called out multiple times due to racism, but it was, again, calling out actual racism is very okay. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say here. Part of what happened was completely fabricated. In fact, most of what happened was completely fabricated because people got confused. Because I think the issue was that a lot of people weren't actually there when it actually happened. But she said she didn't like it when people drew Ronan as black because, and you can disagree with her reasoning, that's like totally okay. But she said it was because she felt like out of all the characters, he was the most likely to be stereotyped negatively as black. Like, they would be like, oh, he's the one who's the most angry and he's the one who, like, does the most crimes. And so in a way, she was calling out, it's weird that you guys, and this was at the beginning, well, not the beginning, but this was like earlier fandom where I did notice that she was right, and pretty much the only character that I remember being drawn as a person of color was usually Ronan. And then later on, people draw every character as a person of color, so it kind of gets muddled. Part of that is because people are angry at her, so it's like this like revenge thing, even though she doesn't actually care. Like, she was just saying that people would constantly only draw him as black when when, you know, like, why don't you draw other characters as people of color? Like, maybe think about your weird biases. You're allowed to think that that's incorrect or whatever, but I still think that she wasn't being evil or anything. She was just saying something that's actually kind of at least valid. And then people were like, oh, she's racist. She doesn't want us to draw Ronan as black. Let's draw all the characters as people of color. As if that wasn't her initial point. Is that, like, I don't know. I found that to be really dumb. I think a lot of time that's why I don't like fandom, is like calling out random creators for things that are just like, you guys are freaking Puritans, and like, I get not wanting to like someone who's done a lot of bad things, but this is just not that. And like, writers should be allowed to write about controversial things without it being like, they literally believe this in real life. I don't know. I also think that fandoms have a hive mind type mentality where they're like, all of us literally believe this thing. And it's like, well, I didn't agree to that. I think I'm just very like anti hive mind thinking. And so I would just be like, I don't know what you mean. Like, I think a lot of times people would talk about those characters in ways that didn't make sense to me, or was like just off-putting based on like the actual facts I had. Which, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I should probably stop talking. I want to start editing my videos so they're not terrible, but these are kind of actually videos I don't really expect that many people to watch. They're just for me, really. So I don't really know if I have anything else to say. I guess those are just some of the reasonings I dislike fandoms. I should have wrote a list because now I'm afraid I'm definitely missing something. But yeah, I think it's just okay to just like dislike characters if you dislike them. It's not really this like, oh, you have to prove that they're like a good person or not. I actually really liked Nate in Euphoria. He's not my favorite character, but he's one of my top 3 favorite characters because I found him interesting. And I feel like you're not allowed to like say that because like if you even say you find him interesting, people will be like, ah, no, he's just like a stereotype of like a high school jock who's like secretly bisexual. And it's like, no, like people are allowed to find him interesting though. Like I personally find him interesting. I think Euphoria does have interesting characters. I think it's not my favorite show for a few reasons, but I found kind of a lot of the characters interesting that a lot of people would shit on because it's kind of like not really about morality. But then at the same time, sometimes I dislike characters if they have a morality problem because I think different people are going to be more offended by different things or more fixated on certain things. It's a nuanced thing where just because I say I dislike a character doesn't mean I'm saying they're literally the worst person in the show. Um but yeah, I think I'm gonna be done for now. I have just been really nervous because, well, I'll make another video about it actually.